Hi guys, Shane here with Whelan Cameras, and today we'll be looking at 6 things to consider when buying a tripod. The number one thing to consider when buying a tripod is, are you a photographer or a videographer? Photographers will be drawn to something like this. This is the 3-legged thing, and it's the patty, and it has a ball head. So ball heads are really simple, really easy to use. They have a ball on them, that's why they're called that. And they just move around, and then when you're ready, you tighten it up. And there you go. So what's really useful about this from a photographer's point of view is that if you need to do something a little bit off axis, or you need to do something vertical, then it's very, very quick and easy to use. So that's really useful for photographers. But you could also use something like this, which is a clutch. And it's the same principle. It's still got that ball, but instead of it being loosen and then tighten, it just operates with a clasp. So just like that, wherever you need it to go, and then it stays there. So you boom, and there it is. Videographers, on the other hand, are not going to get a lot of use out of these heads, the ball heads or the clutch, because they're just not designed for that kind of fluid motion. What is designed for fluid motion is the fluid head, and it's called a fluid head because it has fluid inside the head. What that does is it creates a drag, so there's a nice bit of friction as you move, which gives you the ability to pan, tilt, and do other kinds of motion with your tripod, which you can use to get some nice cinematic shots. And it gives you that nice fluidity and that smoothness to it, which you're going to need if you're doing video. So once you know you're a photographer or a videographer, the next thing to bear in mind is size and weight. So if you're anything like me, then every pound counts. Carrying a huge tripod with a massive camera, pile of accessories, loads of lenses, and a big bag, it can quickly get exhausting. For some people and some situations, that's what you're going to need. You're going to need all of that gear, and you're going to need a tripod that's able to hold all of that gear. But other times you're just going out and about, maybe doing some street photography, you're just out for a walk, and you just want to have a tripod with you just in case. And for that situation, you're going to want something really small and light. Before you buy a tripod, make sure to check the tripod specifications. And there's a couple of key things you want to look out for here. You're looking for your max height, your minimum height, and your max payload. So this guy, if we take this Benro video head as an example, from the top of the head all the way stretched out, right down to the bottom of the legs is 57.1 inches. Now, 57.1 inches is nearly exactly my eye level, which is really useful if I'm going out taking photos and I'm looking at things and I'm like, I like that shot. You need a tripod that's going to be able to reach you if that's the height that you want it to be at. On the other side of that equation, we have the minimum height. Now, this Benro tells us that it can go 20.5 inches, and that's 520 millimeters, which again is useful if I know that I need to do something really small and detailed, or if I want to carry it in my backpack and I know my backpack's height, or I'm bringing it traveling. You know, we will travel again. So yeah, if you're going traveling with something like this, you need it to fit into a luggage case. So this guy is 20.5 inches, and that is extremely important for me to know for if I'm taking around with me, or if I'm doing something like macro work and I need to get really close to my subject. So the third thing to keep in mind here is the maximum payload. When I'm going out, I usually shoot on my mirrorless cameras with small mirrorless lenses, and they're not really that heavy. It's one of the big benefits of them. And something like this can take 2.5 kilograms, which is perfect for me. That being said, if I was to shoot with a bigger lens or a bigger camera, I probably wouldn't take out this guy. I'd use a different tripod that has a larger maximum payload. So you really have to be careful, because you have to know what can the tripod do, but you also have to know what are you using it for. So you do need to know what the tripod is capable of doing, but you also need to know what you're actually going to be using it for. Not all tripods are made the same way. Something really simple, are you going to use clips or twists? I prefer clips myself. They just clip off, tripod leg extends, and it clips back on. That's what works for me. But other people prefer the twists. With the twist, it's really easy to get all three out at once. You just twist and away they come. So again, if you're doing a lot of macro work or food photography, anything that's really overhead, you're gonna want your ball head. But this, the Manfrotto 190, has an additional feature. The center column comes up and it comes down. And now it's a great overhead tripod and it's really stable. It's much more stable and you can get it really far over. So again, that's a great feature, but if you don't do a lot of overhead shoots, you mostly do videography, that's not something you're really going to need, and it's an additional expense. So make sure you know what you need from the tripod before you go buying one. Which brings me to my next point, pricing. When it comes to tripods, it really is a case of buy right, buy once. There's no point putting an expensive camera on a cheap pair of sticks. There's a lot of gear out there, and you want to make sure that you're getting something that is right for you and your photography. It really is an investment in you, so don't be afraid to spend a little extra if it's going to give you the features that you really need. At the same time, don't buy a tripod just because it's more expensive. Make sure you're buying the one that fits for purpose. The other thing, of course, is if you want a tripod that is both strong and light, make sure you get a carbon fiber model because you will feel the benefits on your back and thank yourself later. My last 2 points are a little bit more personal. Firstly, does it feel right? If you've narrowed down the field to, let's say, 3 tripods that are all equally as good and within the same kind of a price range, but maybe they're just different brands, then go with the one that feels right. Go with the one that's the color that you like. Go with the one that has a nice style or that looks good to you or feels good in the hand. So long as it does what you need it to do and it's at the price point that you're happy to pay, after that all things are equal and go with your gut. You're going to be using this thing every day for a good while, so yeah, it's got to feel good. You have to want to use it. And my last point is, do you actually need a tripod? In the last couple of years, there's been an explosion in different camera gear. We now have monopods, gorilla pods, we've got tabletop pods. There's all manner of pods out there. Have a good look and make sure that you're getting something that is going to be suitable to you, and it might not be a traditional tripod style. If you're doing a lot of outdoor work, up trees, down mountains, or you're doing something like I am, if you need something for, to hold a recorder or whatever, have a look out there because there's a lot of options now, and it might not be the case that a tripod is what you need. It could be some other kind of a pod. All right, guys, I'm going to finish up there. I hope that you learned something today. I hope that it was useful and enjoyable. There's a lot to learn here when it comes to tripods, and the field is always growing. So if you have any questions, pop in store when we can, drop us an email, message us on Facebook or Instagram, or call us. We're always happy to help. And yeah, we'll answer any questions and sort you guys out with a tripod that's going to work for you. So thanks very much, and see you then.